Rajasthan is built to be driven around. The fantastic roads, stunning scenery, and beautiful cities that are steeped in history all make for a brilliant driving adventure, and that is what we at MOTORSCRIBES set out to do with the Virtus twins. After all, ever since we first drove the Virtus, we realized that it's a machine like no other in its segment, and it begs to be driven. And that goes for both the variants, the 1-liter TSI and the 1.5 TSI. Keeping that in mind, there is no better place than Rajasthan to truly experience the potent power of the TSI engines and unravel what these cars have to offer as we make our way through the desert state on our epic adventure. Our 10-day trip itinerary was quite straightforward. We wanted to get enough driving in, take the time out to visit some iconic forts, enjoy some brilliant stays, and just soak in everything that Rajasthan has to offer. With the Virtus twins as our trusty set of wheels for this trip, we set out from Delhi and we headed out to Jodhpur for 2 days, then made our way out to Jaisalmer for some fun in the dunes and luxury camping, and then on to Bikaner to see an amazing fort, and finally to Mandawa for a stay in an exquisite Haveli before finally making our way back to Delhi. The 1,800-kilometer trip proved to be a revelation in more ways than one. Our first day was all about the drive and getting to know the Virtus all over again. There's nothing like a nice long drive to give you an immersive experience of a car, and the run from Delhi to Jodhpur is a 620-kilometer drive that we knocked off in 11 hours. The highway that runs through this part of Rajasthan is a beautiful road that you can simply cruise along for hours together. Speaking of which, it was on this stretch that the cruise control feature on the Virtus cars came in handy. Doing a long haul requires quite a bit of stamina out of the driver, and cruise control really plays its part in deterring fatigue from setting in. We did good time to our destination and pulled into Jaisalmer, where we would be staying for 2 nights. Jaisalmer is a beautiful heritage property located 30 minutes away from the main town of Jodhpur. The 18th century Mewar castle has been converted into a boutique hotel, and it wins you over with its architecture, well-manicured lawns, and ornate decor that literally takes you back in time. It gives you that royal vibe and has a nice homely feel to it as well. Despite its exotic appeal, Jaisalmer is rather affordable and definitely worth the visit. In many ways, the ethos of the place gels with that of the Virtus, for it too is a grand vehicle that gives you that sense of space and royalness without being a burden on your wallet. While in Jodhpur, it goes without saying that one must make their way over to Mehrangarh Fort, and that is exactly what we did. It is a quick run from Jaisalmer to the fort that overlooks the city, and we did good time in the Virtus sedans to get to our destination. As we pulled into the parking lot, with the fort towering over the landscape in the back, we knew that this place would be a treat and a solid lesson in history. The massive fort sits on top of a hill and was built by Rao Jodha, the founding ruler after which the city of Jodhpur is named. While most of the fort was built by the late 1700s, the main entry, known as Jaipol or Victory Gate, was built in 1806. The tour of the fort takes about 4 hours on foot. However, it is a brilliant history lesson that gives you a glimpse of how the royals of Rajasthan lived. From a visit to the armory, to seeing a commemorative sword given by Mughal Emperor Akbar as a gift, to various palanquins and howdahs, which are seats that are fixed on top of elephants, the museum at the fort is a must visit. Our pro tip is to get a good guide to take you around and explain everything, including a lot about the architecture of the place. If there ever was a place that signifies build quality, then Mehrangarh Fort would win hands down. It has stood the test of time and is the perfect illustration of why build quality matters. So the next time you're looking at the Virtus, or any Volkswagen product for that matter, and you hear about build quality, remember, it means a lot, for these products are also built tough and safe, much like the ethos of a fort such as Mehrangarh. The next day, we set out for a 375-kilometer drive from Jodhpur to Jaisalmer. The route we chose took us via Pokhran and then on to the frontier city. The roads through this part of Rajasthan are absolutely divine, and it is very tempting to unleash the potent power that the TSI engines have on tap. Of course, we had to drive with restraint, as this stretch is also heavily checked for speeding, and it is best to stick to the speed limit. Having said that, there are stretches where the limit is set to 100 km per hour, which allowed us to do good time between the two cities and get to our destination before sunset. Both the cars were in their element on this relatively empty stretch of road. The 1.5 TSI was cruising along effortlessly, while the 1-liter TSI had no trouble matching the pace. With these cars, power is not an issue, and you really can't go wrong regardless which model you're behind the wheel of. The 1-liter TSI does offer 115 PS of power, while the 1.5 TSI delivers 150 PS of power. But apart from the difference on paper, they're both such peppy machines that are an absolute delight to drive, and that is exactly what we were experiencing. Our plan in Jaisalmer was to avoid staying in the city, for we thought it would be more fun to head out to the Sam Desert, which is about 30 kilometers away, and enjoy a stay in a beautiful desert camp. After all, the adventure of Rajasthan by road isn't complete without a gorgeous night out in the desert. Once checked in, we enjoyed the chilly desert air as we gathered around a beautiful bonfire for an evening of cultural performances by local Rajasthani artists. They sang beautiful songs, and this was followed by the now popular dance performance done by Kalbelia dancers. The Kalbelia are a Rajasthani desert tribe that are known for being snake catchers, and their colorful outfits and dance moves are inspired by their heritage. No doubt, it was a magical evening, and the clear desert sky, along with the traditional live soundtrack being played, made it rather special. Jaisalmer is mainly known for its yellow sandstone construction and the fact that the fort is what you call a live fort, for people still live within its walls, and there are numerous businesses being run there as well. A visit to Jaisalmer Fort is a must, and as you enter, you feel like you've stepped onto the sets of something straight out of the Arabian Nights. You half expect Aladdin to come running down one of the cobblestone alleys. After enjoying a walk around the fort and exploring the narrow streets, we made our way back to the desert camp to check in for the night, as we had another big day of driving coming up. Once again, we packed our bags in the cavernous boot of the Virtus sedans. The trunk on these cars is extremely impressive, and you can get a ton of luggage in there with ease. All loaded up, we set out from the desert camp and made our way towards Bikaner. Our drive took us down some brilliant stretches of tarmac that were relatively empty, and once again, it was all about enjoying what the Virtus has to offer. The cars are simply effortless to drive. Both of them perform with such grace and remain extremely composed on the road. With empty roads, it is easy to get carried away, so it was a boon to have a brilliant sound system on board for us to listen to our favorite tunes. The good part is that while the two cars sport different powertrains, the features on board are exactly the same. So there is no compromise in terms of creature comforts, regardless of which model you choose. Speaking of which, despite it being cool outside, the harsh desert sun can heat up the cabin quite a bit, so we did have the air conditioner on. However, for that added bonus, we also got to stay extra comfortable thanks to the ventilated front seats the Virtus comes with. The 375-kilometer drive from Jaisalmer to Bikaner was completed in a little over 5 hours, and while due credit goes out to the TSI engines, it would be wrong not to talk about how effortless a drive the Virtus is thanks to the refined automatic transmissions. The 1-liter TSI gets a 6-speed torque converter automatic that is perfectly matched with the engine to deliver that peppy feel. The 1.5 TSI version gets the slick DSG unit, which is again such a delight and never fails to impress. Volkswagen has really done a stellar job with the way they have set up these cars, and they just win you over with their dynamics and refinement. Bikaner is a small town that was set up by Rao Bika, one of the many sons of Rao Jodha, and it lies on the old trading route. The standout destination in Bikaner to visit is the Junagarh Fort. It is one of the few forts built at ground level, and it is also one of the few forts that has never been occupied by invaders. For motorheads, this fort has an extra treat, for you can drive right in and park next to the beautiful cannons on display within the fort grounds near the eastern gate entrance. A tour of Junagarh Fort is a must. Soak in the architecture, visit the different mahals within the fort, take a tour of the museum, and don't forget to get a glimpse of one of the few DH-9 de Havilland planes that is still intact and on display here. Apart from that, the Junagarh Fort also houses ornate decorations and miniature paintings. After our tour of the fort, we set out from Bikaner to make our way to Mandawa. It is a short 195-kilometer run that takes roughly 3 hours to complete. The highway is as stunning as all the other roads in Rajasthan. However, once we got closer to the village that is known for its Havelis and frescoes, the road narrows down and eventually we had to take a dirt path to get to our destination. On that note, dealing with rough roads or a dirt path such as the one we were on was easily done, for the Virtus sedan offers an amazing ground clearance. They are almost SUV-like in nature, and never once on this trip did we feel like we would bottom out. Honestly, we can't remember the last time we drove a sedan and didn't have to worry about the underbody. But with the Virtus, this is one of its biggest plus points and definitely needed to be highlighted. Mandawa was the last destination on our trip in Rajasthan, and to make the most of it, we found a beautiful hotel to stay at. Known as the Vivana Culture Hotel, it is built on a renovated 19th century Mandawa Haveli and has a total of 33 rooms. This boutique hotel is built to pamper you, and the guided tour of the property lets you ogle at the ornate architecture. The grand entrance with a tree in the courtyard looks mesmerizing, as does the rest of the building. It has been renovated with taste, and there is honestly nothing about this property that you can't complain about. Being pampered at the Vivana was the perfect ending to this trip. After having clocked 1,500 kilometers and traveled through picturesque locations across Rajasthan, this was a brilliant place to unwind and enjoy one last evening before finally heading back to Delhi for our final 250-kilometer drive. The biggest takeaway from this epic journey was just how right the Virtus is for India. It delivers in terms of performance, offers excellent space on board, is well equipped with creature comforts, and is an absolute joy to drive. The fact that it scores in terms of build quality and offers amazing ground clearance is testament to the fact that Volkswagen India has really come of age, and their understanding of what our market needs is spot on. Having said that, I can confidently say that sedans are definitely back. This is just how impressive the Virtus is and how it truly wins you over. In all honesty, sedans in India have primarily been written off due to their low ground clearance. But that isn't a problem with this sedan, and coupled with the excellent ride quality that it offers, you can see why Volkswagen bet on this, and the results are paying off. Rajasthan has taught us that history repeats itself, and something built with a strong foundation will stand the test of time. The Virtus is one such product that will stand the test of time and will continue to win hearts.